What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video today, and in this video we'll be taking a look at my collection. Today we'll be taking a look at my fleet of McDonnell Douglas MD-80 aircraft. One of my favorite retro aircraft in my collection right now, and as you can see I've got quite a few of them now. I've amassed the overwhelming majority of the more recent Mad Dog releases that have been announced by Gemini jets within the last couple of years. Very happy that they have returned to using that mold, and then now we have NG also releasing their MD-80, so there'll be more opportunities for me to add this aircraft type into my collection. So let's take a look and see what Mad Dogs I currently have. So as I record this video in May of 2024, I have a total of 12 MD-80s. The overwhelming majority of them are from Gemini jets, but we do have two that are from another brand. We have Dragon Wings represented here in this case with two of them, and those are the two that you see on the stands, since that's how I've had them displayed on my shelf for the longest time now. And I don't really have any duplicates of airlines. The only one really would be actually, no, I do have a few duplicates, so disregard. Delta, I've got two of them. TWA, I have three. One with the stripes, the final livery, and then, of course, the American hybrid. And then also Delta, I have the current livery, and then I have two widgets, the 88 and the 90. And I know that Gemini, they have plans to release the Colors in Motion, Delta Flying Wavy Gravy, essentially the 2000s livery, MD-88. They have it as a future release yet, and that has yet to be formally announced as this video is being recorded. Hopefully that'll change by the time this video goes out, but it probably won't. But hopefully it's sooner than later, because I'd love to add that to my collection. So right now I don't have any Mad Dogs on order as well, so this is where my Mad Dog collection is at. Though I imagine after Airliners International in Kansas City, it's going to grow a little bit. It may be one or two more, but we'll see what happens. And I'd like to do a My Collection episode on all my DC-9 aircraft, which is the predecessor to the MD-80, and then of course the 717, but I don't really have too many of those. I just have a Delta and a TWA one all in my collection, two TWAs more specifically. Sorry about that there. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started, and we'll take a look at all of my MD-80s here. Starting off, we have my first ever MD-80. This example is of Continental Airlines. It's an MD-82 wearing the red meatball livery. I picked this up back in 2017, right around the time that I started my YouTube channel. I plan to do a retro review on this model, so let me know if you guys are interested in seeing that sooner, and I'll elevate that up in the priority list. And the only damage that this model has is it's missing its nose gear. I lost it a long time ago, but otherwise the rest of the model is in fantastic condition. Couldn't be more happy to have this model because it is quite rare now from what I understand, and as of right now it's only my only meatball aircraft from Continental in my collection. Hopefully that'll change in the future. This is a little bit out of sync with the chronology of my MD-80s that I've added over the years, but we have this Delta MD-88. This was released in 2018 by Gemini Jets and is the latest Delta MD-88 with the current livery that has been released by them. So I picked this up on the Christmas holiday that year. One of the many models that I got that year. Was very fortunate to be in that position to receive that many. But this model here is absolutely fantastic. No complaints. And what's even better with this Delta MD-88 is that it has the lovely Delta belly on it. I have taken a look at this aircraft before in my retro review series. You'll see a card up on the top right of your screen that you can click or tap on if you want to see a more detailed review on this particular model. My buddy Connor would definitely approve of me having this model in my collection. We have this American MD-82 from Gemini Jets. This is the first release from 2013. I picked this up at the Airliners International Convention in Chicago, my first time going to that show. Paid 80 bucks for it, so bit of a pretty penny for it, but I'd say it's worth it because these American MD-80s are very hard to find in of itself, especially from Gemini Jets and also the older JetX and Dragon Wings examples. NG has released a few MD-80s recently. Photos have yet to come out, but I am planning to get one of them if they do the black nose, which is the variant that NG did not do with the 3 American releases that they did. I was hoping one of them would have the black nose, but that wasn't the case, so we'll try again next time, as obviously I already have one with this specific livery, and of course the gray nose on it. I'm surprised that Gemini has not taken an opportunity to do the black nose MD-80, whereas with JetX and Dragon Wings they have done them a long time ago, and I know just how difficult those planes are to find these days. Continuing on down, we have the MD-80 that I'd argue really started the trend of these retro releases from Gemini Jets for 2023. We have this TWA MD-83 with the twin stripes livery. I was really excited when Gemini announced this, and I've shown the release reaction many times, so I won't show it again, but you do get the idea if you have seen the video of just how excited I was. And I wasn't the only one in that position either. There are tons of retro collectors that have been waiting on this model for years, and then Gemini finally announced it in the February-March batch of 2023. So I pre-ordered this immediately, and I was really happy to have this model to add into my collection, and even use it in a retro FSD update, because at the time that I did use that model, the final livery MD-80 didn't exist yet in 1-400, but thankfully, that changed pretty quickly. But in between all that, Connor helped me get this Delta MD-88 with the widget livery. Now, if you've watched his channel, you may have seen the massive unboxing that he had where he got a lot of about, I think it was like 9 or 10 models or so. Well, he only spent $150. The catch was that none of the models had boxes, so they were loosely shipped in like this envelope container. And that's how he got the models. Thankfully, from what I recall, none of them were severely damaged. I think there was maybe one that did get damaged in transit, but the rest were okay. And this Delta MD-88 widget was one of the models in those lots. And I asked Connor if he wanted to sell it to me, and sure enough, he was more than willing to do that since he knew just how much I wanted one of these in my collection. So hopefully I'll get to use this in another video at some point. I've been meaning to touch on some more retro airport projects, and hopefully I'll be able to do that when I've got some more time. I do have some time this summer, but part of the problem is I need quite a lot more retro planes, and I quite frankly don't have enough of a fleet right now to do any other retro airport projects other than retro FSD. Here's a lovely TWA MD-80 sequel that Gemini Jets announced in November of 2023. I got this on December 23rd of that year, and I vividly remember that because the very next day, which was Christmas Eve, I uploaded the double Mad Dog unboxing video, and you can see part of the other one that I got in that same unboxing. The only damage to this model was one of the engines was loose, but it has not fallen out in the time that I've owned this model, so very happy that that has not come out. But overall, just really happy to have another one of these TWA MD-80s, and I definitely get more if I was doing like a retro St. Louis, for instance. I already have this, and of course the Twin Stripes MD-80 over there, so hopefully if I ever have the time to do more of those like bigger retro airport projects, then I'll definitely have to get more. But for right now, having one of each is perfectly sufficient in my collection. Here's the other MD-80 I got that same day. This is the World Atlantic model, the MD-82, or 83, excuse me. Yeah, it's an 83 with the screwdriver tail cone there. This was released in Gemini Jets the month prior to the Twin Stripes MD-80 over there. So this is actually the one that kind of kicked off the whole MD-80 trend that Gemini has started. And I was not expecting them to do something like this, but there had been some demand for a World Atlantic MD-80. And I had planned on getting this. I wanted to get it in Dallas, but it was not... I did not see it anywhere for sale, but thankfully Panda Fox still had one because Sioux Falls actually received one of these from Syracuse, which is pretty interesting. So I decided to finally pick it up and add this lovely Mad Dog into my collection. Here's one of the Mad Dogs that I got on Christmas Day, this lovely US Air MD-82. This was announced in, I believe, the August 2023 batch. So the only Mad Dog that I don't have from the 2023 releases would be that Aeromexico, and I think that one is still readily available. So I may get that if I have some extra money at airliners. Hopefully I'll have some extra, but I don't plan on getting, 40, 50 models there this year. At least I hope it doesn't turn into that. But if it does, it is what it is. We'll just have to make do with it. But my goal for airliners this year is to try and get some continue to balance out how many models I get with how much memorabilia I get, because I want to have a nice even distribution of both models and then all the other general memorabilia that exists at this convention. But either way, very happy to have this US Air MD-82, and this is I believe my second or third Gemini MD-80 with the screwdriver tail cone, since this one right here, or not the screwdriver, this is the pointy one, as you can see right there, and compared to the World Atlantic, it's a little hard to tell there with the contrast, but you can see it's a lot flatter on the end, and it kind of looks like those Phillips screwdriver heads that you'd use to unscrew something like, I don't know, maybe a screw in my camera, which has about the same head, but it is very small. Probably could use this model if you really wanted to, but I do not recommend doing that. Don't use these MD-80s as actual screwdrivers. Please don't do that. This is a model that I had lost for years, over almost a decade, that I did not have this model in my collection from when I originally got it. The Delta MD-90 widget. I paid a pretty penny for this on a Waffle Collection sale, but These MD-80s are pretty hard to, or MD-90s, excuse me, are pretty hard to find, especially here with this Delta widget livery. And this is my only MD-90 that I have right now, and I'm hoping that will change, but there isn't really a whole lot of other MD-90s that I would want for my collection. It's basically all Delta, since we have, of course, this widget livery, and then we have the Delta Flawed livery, and then the current livery. Fun fact about the Delta MD-90, they never painted them in the Ron Allen livery, so that meant that MD-90s would go straight from the widget livery to the Delta Flawed livery, and I don't think they ever made the jump where it went from the widget livery to the current livery, because I don't think none of them would have lasted all the way up until 2007, which is when Delta introduced their current livery named Upward and Onward. My latest MD-80 in my collection, we have this Everett Air Cargo announced in the April 2024 batch by Gemini Jets. Very happy with this one, and kind of an unexpected MD-80, honestly. But since it is an MD-80 in the US, I figured, why not get it, add it to my collection? It'd look really lovely alongside my existing MD-80 fleet, and that's exactly what we did here. So very happy to have this, and looking forward to using this in future videos when it calls for it. Now we have my two Dragon Wings MD-80s that I have in my collection. I picked these up a while ago, so we'll go ahead and take a look at the TWA American hybrid that I have here. Picked this up back in 2018 at a antique store in Kansas City called Poppy's Treasures. And a nice little selection of American and TWA models. They had these two TWA hybrids, the MD-80 and the 717. And they also had an American Chrome 757, the first release from Gemini Jets, which I know was quite hard to find, but I think the total cost of it wasn't all that much. I don't think it was anything more than, I would say, 75 or 80 bucks for all three of those models. So pretty good deal on all of them, honestly, but this was 6 years ago now, so I imagine the actual resale value of all those models combined is much higher than what I paid for them in 2018. This model has sustained a little bit of damage as one of the landing gear. I knocked off one of the wheels and the other's about to fall out on one side, but otherwise the rest of the model is in fantastic condition. I believe the registration on this bird, it is November 90615 Whiskey, so that is the tail number on the TWA hybrid MD-83 that I have here in my collection, and it should be an 83 here because of the tail cone there with the screwdriver. Although some MD-82s did get the screwdriver tail cone, those would be some later variants. Early MD-82s will for sure have the pointy tail cone on it. And then last but not least, we have this Reno Air MD-80 that I have. I took a look at this in another episode of Retro Reviews. Feel free to check that out by using the card in the top right corner of your screen. This is the Gulf Coast Flyer aircraft. Now, I know that Gemini has another one of these Reno Air aircraft up for a future release. They have an MD-90 with the Lake Tahoe skier one. So very interesting choice from Gemini, and it sounds like they've had this in production for a very, very long time. So looking forward to having them announce that, hopefully in the future. Maybe they'll do both in the same release, the other one being the Delta MD-88 Delta Flot one, of course. So hopefully we get to see both of those in the same release, but if not, hopefully they're not too far spaced apart. That is all of my MD-80s. So overall, 12 MD-80s, nice to have a good fleet of them, and hopefully I can continue to grow this collection as we move forward. Gemini Jets, please continue to release the MD-80s, and NG, please make some really good subjects using your MD-80 mold, since I'd like to add your mold into my collection. So with that being said, that is the end of the video. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.